First time competing.
Take one. You do the intro because you're good at introing.
Today's video a little bit different. I'm doing a bit of a Q&A. I've had a few people message us about their first time competing, so we thought we'd just make a quick video just to fill you guys in and hit all the main points of first time competing.
So what we thought would be a good idea is if we will both tell you guys,
share our experiences.
Yes, that's it. So what we thought we'd do is share our experience about our first time competing with you or anyone that gives a shit, and it might be able to help you down the line, or we might just waste 10 minutes of your time and your life on this video.
Either way,
we got the view.
Yeah, and hope you have a good day.
Shall I start or you start?
Yeah, you can.
All right, so competing wise, let's say I never actually had any intentions of competing, but obviously it was more of a natural progression. So long story short, 2015, I had a holiday booked for Ibiza, so I started a 10-week cut, and that was the first time. Bear in mind, I've been training for years. That was like the first time I'd really dieted properly, got a real proper structure in place, as if I was doing a show, but it wasn't. It was for a holiday. Anyway, 10 weeks went. I got into good shape for my holiday, went away, came back, and as I come back, Nathan was getting ready for the PCA Birmingham show, and obviously I was already in the best shape I'd ever been in at that point, and thought, fuck it, let's give it a go. We did a 11-week prep for the PCA Birmingham show and actually did the muscle model category. So Carl at Colesville Nutrition, obviously he's one of our main sponsors, and we've worked with Carl from the start, all of us have. So he obviously did my diet and whatnot, just helping me for my holiday. And then we took it seriously when we got back to do that prep. 11 weeks prep, got into the best condition at that point I'd ever been in. A really good eye-opener into what you can do physically. And we got to the show. I entered the muscle model category. And it was a bit of it was all over the place on the day, to be fair. Obviously weighed in, registered, all that kind of shit. When it was my time to come out on stage, we've come out lined up at the back, and then the judges have their first little look at you, and then they called out 3 numbers, mine being one of them, and said we were too big for the muscle model categories and we'd be better off suited to a bodybuilding class. So obviously at that point I was thinking, what the fuck, spent all this time getting here. Bear in mind, I hadn't said anything beforehand. I got on stage and now they're telling me I've got to move classes. Hadn't done any bodybuilding poses. Obviously this was my first time competing, so I didn't know anything. So
didn't even wear the pants.
Yeah,
pants.
Didn't even have no pants. So
you had to use someone else's pants?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. So they took me backstage and then someone gave me some pants, some red pants. I don't know whose they were. They seemed fresh at the time, so I don't think they were used. But they weren't fresh. They seemed fresh, but if they're not, fuck it, innit? It's one of them. But yeah, so some red trunks, put them on, like what the fuck. When you first, anyone knows that's competed, when you first have your first pair of trunks, even though you know they're tiny, they're way smaller in it. They're proper fucking tiny. But and then I had a few people backstage showing me some poses, and then literally about, I think it was probably about half an hour, I was back on stage in an open bodybuilding class 2. But at that point, like, I had already been messed about and I had no pressure on, so it was just like, oh fuck it, see what happens. I enjoyed it. To be fair, it half helped because there was no pressure on me. I enjoyed it even more because I was just having a laugh. I had to do a routine and I had no idea what I was doing. At the poses, I had no idea what I was doing.
Define that routine.
I can't even remember what I did. And I'm standing next to fucking Pete Lawson, who's one of Birmingham's best bodybuilders. But yeah, I got third somehow.
You got second?
No, I got third. Got third?
No, you got second?
No.
Did you?
No, I got third. There's like a Russian guy and a Polish guy, or some like 2 Eastern European guys.
Yeah.
They got first. Remember Nathan Dasher's? One was his guy,
okay.
And then there was some next guy. So I got third in that show, which I was more than happy with. I wasn't expecting anything, and that was based off more of my condition than anything, because I was the smallest by far. Class, obviously with the bodybuilding classes like that, it's all height class. So I was the smallest by a long way off, but my condition was really good. So yeah, ended up getting third. And I was buzzing off of that, really. It turned out better in the end. Obviously the whole day was all over the place, and at first it seemed like a big flop, but in the end it turned out right. And my not my intention. Yeah, once I got to the show, my intention was always to end up in bodybuilding. That I went down the muscle model route just because it's more industry friendly, and obviously we wanted to build our brand and build our following. But that was my first insight into the bodybuilding side of it as well, and that was 2015. And now I've done 5 shows, and I'm about to do the 6th in 9 weeks.
Currently UKBFF British champion.
Yeah, UKBFF over 90s British champion, and I'm on my way to trying to see what I can do in the PCA. Well, the show I'm doing is the exact same show and same class that I got put into in 2015.
3 years ago.
Yeah, 3 years ago. So I'm back as an actual class 2 bodybuilder. So we'll see how I get on.
So my first time competing was, not exactly. It was a year after you, Theo, and Nathan, because obviously Theo, when I met Theo, I've been friends with Theo a long time. Theo done a show, I think, back in like 2014.
Yeah.
At Body Power. It was just like a model search, or
I'm going to try and find the picture to put up on this.
Some Body Power special one. After that, I think everyone was kind of starting to get the bug for it. Scott and Nathan done their show the following year. And then being around it, and obviously coming out of football and falling in love with the gym, I think when you do end up competing for the first time, I think it's the time when you want to take your physique to the next level, when you want that final push, when you want to see how far you can push yourself. So 2016, I don't know how I got involved with the Saxon Classic, but that was the show I decided to do. And Ryan, who was the event organizer, prepped me and Theo both for that show. Initially, I went in to do muscle model, and I've even got some photos from my check-ins of me in the muscle model shorts. But after like bringing my condition down and having a few conversations with Ryan, he was saying do junior bodybuilding. I think my shape is more suited towards that. So I went into that. I think I've done a 20-week prep as well for that. No, it wasn't. No, 16-week prep for that, sorry. Nice and basic. I think anyone who's doing a first-time show, it's best to keep your prep kind of basic. Drop your carbs when needed, increase cardio, keep things nice and simple so it doesn't get too confusing and you find out how your body works for the very first time. So 16 weeks, we started and done the juniors, ended up coming second in that.
Who won that one?
Reese McDonald,
something like that.
But yeah, a really good show. Then we went on to the British final and I got 4th. So first year competing, it was a good eye-opener and a good insight to the bodybuilding world, to the fitness industry, and I think it kind of kick-started us all. I think anyone who does a show, it's like your Marmite, you either love it or you hate it. You're either going to go at it or you're going to just forget it completely. But I think anyone who's questioning themselves, just throw yourself in at the deep end and do the show. Now we're currently 15, 16, 17, 2 years on. We've done 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 shows now. 6 shows down. And currently just finished this year's season. So it's off season, so we'll go again hopefully next year or towards the end of the year. This is the big question between us competing. I think a lot of people go into competing to make a living off it, or some people use it as a stepping stone in terms of networking and business. And I think for us that's the biggest aspect of it. None of us want to be pro bodybuilders or have the main intention of that.
I think if that came from it,
yeah, definitely,
I would be more than happy. And we love bodybuilding, but it's not the main goal.
So we just enjoy it as we go along, and it's like a stepping stone in terms of improving your physique, doing the show, dieting down, bulking up. It's hard to bulk for a very long time, in my opinion. So it's nice to have a bulking season and then diet down, and at the end of it do something with it, go and do the show. It gives you the
structure of it, though, innit? Because even without shows, obviously everyone's bulking and cutting and bulking and cutting, but without, I'll find anyway, once you've done a show, you can really structure stuff properly. So a lot of people, they say they're bulking, they'll probably eat a load of shit for a couple of months, get fat, and then be like, all right, I'm cutting now, do the same. Whereas because we've got shows in mind, or we want to compete at this level or this level, the off season or the bulk that you're doing is a lot more productive, and then so as you cut, everything's a lot more planned. Whereas if you haven't got anything to focus on, it's hard to maintain a good structure all year round.
And especially if you want to take this seriously and make a living off it, definitely try different things when you're starting out bodybuilding or starting out competing. Try new protocols, try different things. Don't go into the shows doing the same thing, because you're never really going to find out. You're only going to find out that one way works for you. Our top 6 tips for anyone first time competing are: number 1, get yourself a prep coach. I think anyone who's doing a show, you need, whether you're pro level or whatever, some people, yeah, they can do it themselves, but in my opinion, it's always good to have that person to refer back to and to keep you on track and keep you in line.
And do your research on that prep coach. I think earlier, before, it wasn't much of a problem. Most prep coaches are going to be decent. I'm not saying anyone isn't now, but there's a lot of prep coaches.
Yeah.
A lot of prep coaches without the experience and history of prepping people and doing shows and whatever themselves. So do your research, see what people they've worked with, see
the
results they've got with people, if they've competed themselves, which isn't always have to be an issue, but it's still good to know. And then obviously choose someone and stick with them and see what the result is. If you're going to have a coach, you would need to be with them 100%, because the way they work is obviously the way they work.
Yeah,
so
you've got to put all your trust in them.
Yeah, that's the whole point of it. There's no point having a coach, paying for a coach, and then doing half the stuff. Yeah. So yeah, good point. But number 2 is trust the process and enjoy the. No. That's 2. Number 2 is trust the process, and what I mean by that is, let's say you're doing a 12-week prep. You're not going to be shredded like that in a week, and the leaner and leaner you get, the more things come into play, the more your body changes, the more your mental state changes, and you can end up second guessing yourself and doing things that you wouldn't normally do. There's loads of different factors. So anyone that's prepping correctly, you've got this 12 weeks, and it's a gradual progression until you peak for that show. So trust the process, make sure you're ticking all the boxes, doing the right things, and you'll see the progress come. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Number 3, keep your head. Everyone who goes through prep will always feel as they're behind or not on track, or maybe even feel like giving up. If you're going to do something, stick at it, and like Scott said in number 2, trust the process, and just see the whole prep out till the end.
Number 4, pick a show, register for it, and start prepping for it. I know it sounds stupid, but a lot of people say I want to compete, and it's like there'll never be a point where you're ready. If you're second guessing it, unless you fully know I'm competing, then there's never be a point where you're ready. And I see it all the time. People are like, yeah, I want to compete, I'm not ready yet, I'll do it next year.
Or they'll be like, I'm going to see how I am in 5 weeks, and then
do that. You'll never be ready. And like I say, if you haven't competed before as well, I'll guarantee you if you prep correctly, and if you prep correctly, you'll be amazed by what you can actually do with your physique. But until you make the decision to do that, you'll never know. So choose a show, register for it, and just get to work straight away. Don't delay it, don't put it off, because you'll only talk yourself out. Human nature, we talk ourselves out of shit that we don't know, the unknown, or that we're scared of. So choose a show, get it done.
Number 5, preparation on show day. When you come into your final show day, make sure you've got everything sorted on point. Even if you go into the extremes of making a list before, speak to someone who's previously done a show and get some advice off them. Make sure you're fully prepared with everything you need: tanning, food, water, trunks, number, music, everything down to the finest detail. Make sure all that stress is off your head maybe a week before, because as you come to show day, you want everything to be completely prepared and have as little stress as possible on show day.
And my last one, number 6, would be go to as many shows as possible, for several reasons. Obviously, it's your first show, so you can go and see how the shows are run, see what the level of competition is like, even though it's hard to gauge, because obviously each show is going to be different. You can just get a feel for how the show works, a feel for how you need to be on stage and stage presence, stuff like that, or if you can see other people competing, and give you a little bit of motivation as well. I always find, especially coming up to a show, not even coming up to a show, at any point we go to a show, it makes you want to do a show, you're gassed and you're motivated to do it. So especially like during the end of your prep, where you start questioning yourself, or you're tired and fatigued, and stuff like that, it's good to really pick you up and give you that motivation to keep going. So go to as many shows as you can, research, and learn your craft, so to speak.
So that is our top 6 tips on first time competing. We hope it's gave you some sort of you can take something away from this video.
Let us know if you like this video as well, because we're going to do a lot more, hit a lot more topics. Comment below with anything you'd like us to touch on, and then other than that, make sure you subscribe, share, like the video as always.
Max, from an outsider's perspective,
Outside of the car or
both, if you was getting into a show now, what would you want to know?
me as me or someone as
Nah, you as you, because you haven't done a show. So
depending on what organisation would be the best category to go in.
that's a good.
Yeah.
See.
Every single time I come and watch you, man, and you get moved up and get moved down, and other people from different organisations say, oh yeah, you're good for this category, when really you get there and all that hard work has been pushed up the wall because somebody decided, oh no, you're too big for that category.
Yeah, that's true.
So
realistically,
deciding
you
you
are
correct.
competing for the first time, speak to people in that organisation and get a little bit of advice.
Yeah, that is a great tip.
Into the deep end without your goggles on. Boof!
What category do you choose when competing for the first time? 'Cause Scott got it wrong, I got it wrong, and Theo's still getting it wrong.
I think what you got to do, I think now, not in hindsight, now where we've all been through it, for one, you just concentrate on your prep, because your physique from the start of prep to the end of prep is going to be completely different, and you might fit a different category more once you're nearly show ready. And as Max said, speak to the federation organisers and owners or whoever's in charge there. Speak to them. Speak to the judges.
Maybe like a few weeks out or so they've got an idea and they can put you in the best category.
And just be prepared for it. At the end of the day, it is down to the judge's discretion. So regardless of what you think, what category you think you fit in, you could always be moved. So I suppose another thing is just to be open-minded, or just be prepared for that to possibly happen if you're not sure. Like I said, anything, we're going to do more of these videos. Like I said, the content, we've got loads of content coming now, so any specific topics and stuff like this you want us to touch on, or questions about us or anything, we can do videos like this all day, every day. So comment below, drop us a like, let us know that you enjoyed the video, and we'll keep them coming.
See you tomorrow.